What's up, guys? It's Father David Michael. I hope you're doing well. Got a really cool Catholic story for you today. This is about Sister Wilhelmina, who recently had her body exhumed from the earth and is seeming to be incorruptible, so her body's not decomposing. So let's check out this article. The Diocese of the Kansas City St. Joseph has released a statement on the investigation into the allegedly incorrupt remains of Sister Wilhelmina Lancaster of Gower Abbey, Missouri. The report concluded that her body lacks any detected features of decomposition following her death in 2019. In a statement released by the diocese, Bishop James said he commissioned a specialist team of medical experts to study the body of Sister Wilhelmina in May of 2023, led by a doctor of pathology. So these are not church officials, right? These are doctors on a medical team, specialists who are concluding this. In the final report, the investigative team noted that the condition of Sister Wilhelmina's body during the examination was notable for a lack of any detected features of decomposition, the bishop's statement said. The condition of her body is highly atypical for the interval of nearly 4 years since her death, especially given the environmental conditions and the findings in associated objects. So the environmental factors are obviously important here. It isn't like the conditions were set up so that her body would be mummified in some way or something like that. And one thing I found particularly interesting is that she was not embalmed, right? If somebody's embalmed, their body will probably go about 5 or 10 years before decomposing. So the fact that she wasn't embalmed and that she went 4 years and looks basically like she just went to sleep is kind of crazy. I find this part especially interesting. While noting that the lining of the casket had deteriorated completely, the sister's habit and clothing showed no features of breakdown. That's bizarre. I mean, clothing not breaking down after 4 years of being in a box in the earth is pretty wild. And my understanding too is that the casket itself had kind of deteriorated and broken down. So it's like the elements were able to get actually beneath, I mean, moisture, dirt, all of that, and still even her habit was intact. So there's only been about 200 cases of incorruptibility in the church, so this is pretty rare. She would be the first case of an African American who was pronounced incorruptible. In terms of investigating the sanctity of a person and their canonization process, being incorrupt is not considered a miracle for the case, but it is obviously a sign of God's grace in someone's life. With the habit especially, it's pretty interesting because apparently she was a huge proponent of her and her sisters in the community that she founded wearing these habits. And so she actually died in her habit, which one of the sisters remarked that it was fitting that she would die in her habit because she would have died for the habit, and that now her habit is still incorrupt itself, untarnished, is pretty extraordinary. Someone might say, okay, the body is separated from the soul at the time of death. Her soul has moved on. What's so significant about the body having any kind of specific features? But we have to remember that for us as Christians, this is an incarnational religion. God became a human being in the person of Jesus Christ, took on a body. So the body has been sanctified and should be treated as such. And as we see with things like theology of the body reveals something about the spiritual realm. The body reveals something about the soul. So I think this incorruptibility of the some of the saints is significant. Just like in baptism, there is a physical washing that happens, but it represents the spiritual washing that happens at baptism, the forgiveness of sin. In the same way, a person's body being incorrupt is in some ways kind of a sacramental sign to us of the incorruptibility of the soul, that the soul is going to live on forever. So it's a grace for us to see that in some of the lives of these holy people, to remind us that there are some things that are eternal, that will go on forever. Also a reminder that we believe as Christians in the resurrection of the body. We're going to get our bodies back. The body is particularly significant because of that. Jesus had a glorified body when he rose from the dead. So this is kind of a reminder to us, even though it's not the norm, it's a reminder to all of us that, hey, the body is important and we're going to get our bodies back. So how are we caring for these temples that the Lord has given us? Just to close, one of the sisters in this community said that if she could describe Sister Wilhelmina in one word, she would say lovable. I like that because we often describe holy people as being good at loving others, but she was also someone who sounds like was easy to love herself. So something I think for all of us to aspire to certainly be loving of others, but also to be someone that others can love well. Hope you guys found that helpful. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and we'll see you next time. God bless.